Welcome to David and David on Real Estate. Join us as we explore the ins and outs of the real estate market.
Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. We are today on episode number 49. Time flies when you're having fun. And today we have a very special guest, really good friend of mine, somebody who is my personal training coach I've spent a lot of time with over the last 4 years. And I can't believe it's been 49 episodes before we got Coach on the podcast, but super excited for today's episode. And big welcome to Dewith Frazer, former Olympian and my personal boxing coach. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Happy to be here. It's a perfect morning because this morning I don't start till about 11 o'clock, so it's perfect for me on this fast today.
Absolutely. It's great to have you.
Well, it's great to have you. And I've been hearing for years and years about what a good athlete David is and how he's a boxer and how he trains and he works hard. And I haven't bought any of it. So I'm happy to have you on so you can tell us the real truth about David Gorski.
Well, the last 4 years, he's made a commitment to, improve his fitness and also we not just talk about fitness, we talk about life. So, part of being a personal coach is not just about fitness, but also about life around us, because regardless of what we do, we live in the world around us. When we leave the gym, we walk out into the world. And so I have to educate myself about what's going on, keep myself updated with topics, what's going on in the real estate market, because I'm quite interested in that market myself. So David has been, we look at the gym as a safe place, like a barbershop. You can come and get workout and also make your body look beautiful. That's what a barbershop does. When you walk out of a barbershop, you feel great. The same kind of feeling, when you walk in the gym, you don't feel good, but when you walk out, wow, you're so happy you got your workout in. And David's been doing that consistently for the last 4 years.
I enjoy our conversations. I mean, the physical aspect of working out is one thing, which is unbelievable. It puts you in the right frame of mind, gives you that energy. It's the perfect way to start your day. But it's the interactions and the conversations inside the boxing ring that, mean a lot as well and go a long way to, bouncing ideas and really talking about some really interesting topics. And there's never a list of things that we can't talk about. So it's great. I really enjoy my time with you, Coach. And, you have a wealth of experience. You're a former Olympian. How many times have you been to the Olympics?
Well, I had 4 Olympic Games. I competed in Los Angeles in 1984. And since that time, I've been to the Olympics three-time coaches. I coached in Atlanta in 96. I coached in Sydney in 2000. And in 2021, I was in Japan for, a different kind of game, a COVID game, we call it. And it was really special to be a part of that because I hope we never have another COVID. So I can say I was in the one and only COVID game. So it was quite a different experience. All the other ones, we interact with the public, we interact with the city. COVID didn't allow us that opportunity because we were literally locked down by ourselves. Now, being locked away with the world's best athletes and the world's best coaches is not a bad way to being locked down. So it was quite an experience.
And I, from what I saw, it looked like the protocols were pretty strict there too, right? Everybody was being really careful, those that were there.
Yeah, the certain culture, Asian culture, are very simple. If you follow the rule, you do well. If you don't, you go home. They don't have any what you call in between. They have right and wrong. And when you go there, you kind of a certain respect for them because they take their job seriously. And they don't they don't take any pause. They said, this is the rule, follow it or go home. And athletes are very one thing about being an athlete is all we need is a rule, all we need is a guideline. Just tell us what we have to do. What we need to be successful, you give us a guideline and we work with that. And it's called coachability because not everyone is coachable. Athletes who are good are coachable.
Yeah, and they understand what it means to set goals and to be diligent in what they're going after and following what they're told. And I guess they have to accept coaching. I'm sure you as a young guy coming up, because you're an athlete first, you're Olympian yourself first, so you had to go through that. And I'm sure, like, did you resist that at some point in time when you were younger, and then finally someone got to you and said, no, if you're going to succeed, you've got to become coachable, and you got to follow the rules, and you got to be strict with yourself, and you got to set goals and then work to achieve them?
Well, sure. I'm no different from no one else. We resist, first of all, changes. Anything that is out of our comfort zone, we first resist. But the result is something you can't resist. If you look at the format for success, all the champions are coachable. All of them have to do not what they want to do, what they must do. So it's very simple. I tell people you have to get up every day and move. You can choose to lie down and don't move. You can choose, I don't feel good today, I'm not getting up. But a champion, there is no excuse. Whatever he has to do has to be done. And nobody's going to do it. So we understand that we live in the world around us, and we're not separate from anyone else. We have to follow the rules of the world. But we also realize we have to follow what works. And what works is we have mentors, we have coaches who are there for our best interest. They're not there to keep us down. I have to tell my athletes sometimes, I'm working with you and you're doing everything to work against me. I am here to assist you. Use me as a tool, because having a tool is an advantage. Having no tool. Imagine a carpenter going to work with no tool. Imagine a carpenter going to work with all the tools. It makes the world a way easier way to work. And a lot of people are resisting stuff. Some of them are not because they're resisting it. It's because of the way they were taught. They were taught not to trust. They were taught that no one is there for them. And lots of time, the roadblock they have was put in place at an early age. And as I get older, I'm seeing how important that is to start life with your children by telling them they can do whatever they want, because athletes have no limits.
And what they can accomplish.
They set their own limits. They are their biggest limit setters. When others tell them they're doing okay, they go, no, I got way more work to do.
It's amazing how many characteristics of what you just mentioned can be attributed directly to business. Like, business is really no different, right? You can accomplish anything you want. You can go as high as you want. I mean, their opportunities are right there for the taking, but you need a good set of mentors. You need great tools and resources. You need a strong team around you that will lift you up and believes within you. And the other thing is you need to work hard.
The hard work is a one. If you talk about athletes or any successful people in business, anything you do, the common denominator is hard work and good mentorship. Surround yourself with people who are in your corner. You imagine surrounding yourself with people who are trying to keep you down. You're fighting every day to get up and they're pushing you down. Imagine now surrounding yourself with people who are lifting you up. And every time you go down, they pick you up and say, listen, get up. You got to get up. Eventually, it becomes a way of life. I've been very blessed with a lot of good people around me. And I have to think that I have something to do with that, because I always draw people who are successful, people who want to do well. And that is also my basic instinct, is to be better every day. I tell people all the time, I said, I have a simple goal, is to be better every year. And it's not that complicated. It's just consistency. And this goal is not just in sport, but in life. You have to try to better yourself. It's hard for me to understand why people don't want better things. Why don't people want the best car? Why don't want the best house? Why don't want the best person? Why don't you want the best people around you? So I have to believe that is a mental block that has been put into some people, and they need to get away from those people, because everyone needs to find a mentor regardless of what you're doing. And if you search hard enough, you will find it, regardless of what trade you're in. If you're a carpenter, find the best carpenter. Go see a nice design and said, who did this design? I got to find this person. The minute you start looking for them, you actually find them. They're not that hard to find.
Well, Coach, when you deliver a message like that to the, in your gym and to the people around you, you've got credibility. Okay. So people will listen to the message because you've been there and you've done it. You came up yourself that way. You had to find those type of mentors and listen to somebody else. Like you've got credit because you've got that on people that you're coaching know your background. Maybe you can take us back a little bit, tell us about your background, how you grew up and what it took for you to become an Olympic athlete, because now you got that on your resume. And then later in life, that gives you instant credibility. You paid your dues. You've seen it both ways. You chose the right path instead of the wrong path. And now you're passing that on to other people, right? So maybe take us back a little bit and give us a little of your story.
So I was born in Jamaica. I was raised by my grandparents, my grandmom and grandfather. Up until the age of 12, I didn't really know anything about my mother. I grew up without a father, but I had solid foundation in my grandparents. And what they did was they instilled this belief in me that I can be whatever I wanted. I was never ever told as a child that I would not be successful. I was always told that I was special. And I think when I look back at the kids when they walk in my gym, I can tell from their parenting what kind of mindset they have. And if you come from a negative environment, you become jaded by society that is negative. You know, I remember talking to a young girl and she was about to go to college, and I said to her, what are you going to do in college and what are you going to do with your life? And she looked at me and she says, what do you mean? I go, well, what are your dreams? And she said, I'm going to be like my parents. And I go to her, what does that mean? She said, my limitation goes beyond just with my parents because that's their support group. And I said to her, but you can find your own. You can get a bigger support group. But she was under the mindset that her limitation is what her parents have. And I said to her, you can create your own limitations, which is expand beyond your parents. But she was telling me that it's basically who you know. And if you don't know certain people, you can't go certain places. And I said to her, you can introduce yourself to the world that your parents never introduced you to. And I explained to her that I came from Jamaica. I knew nothing about snow. When I came here and saw snow, I was amazed. Wow. I only heard about snow and a cold. I had no idea what that means. When I came here and actually see it, that's real. And that was a high opener for me. But I embraced it as something new. Nobody could tell me, if I was living in Jamaica all my life, nobody could explain snow to me. I would not understand. I have to really experience it. So
how old were you when you came over?
I was 13 years old when I came here.
Yeah.
And, but now back to when you say the first time I walk in a gym, it was for me. I saw my friend training and I said to him, first of all, the training is so hard. I said, I can't do the skipping and all that stuff. But I said, the boxing part, I can do that easy. And he said, what do you mean? I go, I just looked at the kids in the gym and I saw them and I said to myself, I can be better than these kids. And my friend said to me, no, you can't. And I actually did a bet with him where I won. I said, I can come in here next week and beat up all these kids. And he said, but you've never boxed. I said, it's not that I've never boxed. I know what I can do, what I can't do. And these kids are not very athletic. And I was very athletic all my life, moving around, always energized. So back to now when I started training, I wanted to be, right away I said I go to the Olympic Games. The first week I wanted a boxing gym, I said, I want to go to the Olympic Games.
Wow.
And that was what inspired me to continue to train hard. And when I saw the national champion, I said to myself, I have a lot of work to do. But I didn't say I can't do it. I said I have a lot of work to do. And back to the work ethics people talk about, you have to be realistic that all the successful people are hard workers. I just watched Nadal play, Djokovic yesterday, amazing match. And I'm thinking, wow. So it's a mental thing and a physical thing. You first have to believe, and then you have to put the work in. And when you do, it all comes together. But I think a lot of people, before they even start, they see it's too overwhelming. But you have to start. Anything you're doing in life, you have to start. You can't move from 0 to 100. You have to start and keep progressing. A lot of people see 0 to 100 to be too overwhelming. What they need to realize is when you get to 1, you're not at 0 anymore. When you get to 2, you're not at 1 anymore. They don't like those steps. They want to move from 0 to 100, which is not possible. Because that step between 0 and 100 are what make you resilient and what make you successful. Not the 100, it's actually what makes you get there. So me being an Olympian is not what made me special. What made me special is maintaining the work ethic to continue to grow after being an Olympian.
I think a lot of people see, you know, somebody super successful and, you know, they make it look easy. You look at Nadal, you look at Djokovic, they hit the ball, you're like, oh, you know, they make it look so easy. Like for these guys to play at that level for 4 hours, it almost looks like a video game, right? But nobody sees the hard work that they put in to get to that level.
Yeah, but no, yes, but they don't see that right after they leave the game, they're not only sore, they go into recovery to recover their body for the next day. They go into whether it be ice bath, whether it be massage room. First thing they do when they leave the court is they go to prepare for the next game. And even if they lost, they also go to prepare for the next tournament, because what they do is they do mental notes, what I need to work on today. And so people don't see that as minute they leave the court, people don't see what they do after. That is the most important thing, is when they leave, they don't even go and, wow, I suck, or wow, I'm no good. They go, if they lose, they go, okay, I can't wait for the rematch. If they win, they said, okay, I won today, but I now know he's going to come harder next time. So I have to be prepared. So people are, it's not, the people out there we're speaking about, it's not their fault what's going on. Society don't want to show you the hard work. Society want to show you the prize. Unfortunately, and you know, I was very angry at a young age when I see rappers on TV showing all their success and not the behind the scene work that they do. Those guys who are successful work really hard to get to where they are. All they're showing is the rewards. I want to see, when I was young watching boxing, I didn't want to see the fight itself. I want to see preparation for the fight.
The training.
That's what's going to help me.
Yeah, it's interesting. But, you know, you watch Nadal, Djokovic, and like great athletes and great competitors and as mentally tough as they come. But, you know, they have a net between them. Okay. You're out there trying to punch somebody in the face and they're trying to punch you in the face. Like there's no net. Like that takes a whole different level of courage and commitment. You know, it's a whole different level. Like you're threatened, and you are threatening at the same time if you're in a boxing ring, right? Yes. So there's a whole different level, I think, of mental toughness and commitment, and you have to be prepared, right? You've got to be well trained, or you're going to get hit too much.
Well, I think a lot of things, when people see boxing, they see only two people hitting each other. It is simply like a video game, because we're daring you to hit me. I'm telling you, I was a very a difficult student for my coach. My coach was like my mentor and a father. And we had some rough times because I was so athletic, and due to his age, he was not able to, his reflex was 10 times slower than mine. And I used to stand in front of him and put my hand down and dare him to hit me. And he never could, all our career. And he got him so angry because he'd be teaching me to put my hand up, and I go, Coach, until you hit me, it's not going up. And you know, it was my way of being alert. I said, anytime you want, go ahead. It doesn't matter if I'm looking or not, go ahead. Because in boxing, you have to have a peripheral vision, which you see a great line. But back to what you're talking about, we don't see it as danger. We see it as excitement. I'm daring you to believe you can beat me. I'm daring you to believe that you can hit me. And what that comes from is I train so hard that I believe I'm ready for whatever you have to throw at me. And I don't see any danger. So sometimes people say to me, his hands are down. And I go, yeah, but he knows where his hands are. And he knows his distance. He knows all that stuff. So, you know, it's no different from any other sport. My sport is very similar to tennis, to all these sports. The biggest factor in all of them is mentally. Your mental mindset. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to get better? And are you willing to do what's necessary to be successful? And they're all similar in the same with business as in sport. Sport is a reflection of life. You sometimes get knocked down, you have to get back up. You lost your job, you have to get a new one. You know, you got demoted, you got to get better. And what that comes from is just bettering yourself by learning whatever is new and whatever is going to make you successful.
So much. I think that's a great lesson, because That's something that David and I, do talk about quite often on these podcasts, is how we take things, those type of lessons that you learn, totally away from the business world, but how applicable they are to the business world, to David's business, to my business, and just back to something you said earlier, just, having the right tools,
Yes.
like that's such an important thing for our careers and our jobs and our businesses. You've got to be prepared. You've got to have the right tools to draw on. And these are the type of lessons you can learn in a gym. And in other sports, like David and I both have backgrounds growing up playing sports. There's so many things that we learn from playing sports, from being on teams and from doing individual things, that you just carry over those types of lessons into the business world.
Yeah, I mean, sport is a great, and I use the analogy like it's the men's barbershop to fitness, and it's very similar. And the reason for that is because you have a camaraderie, you're part of a club, you're part of a team. And one of the things that most people seek, you see here, young kids get into groups and gangs. Everyone want to be important. Everyone want to feel they're part of something. And a gym, when you walk in a gym, it's your gym. I remember a young girl telling me, I said to her, your brother want to join the gym? And she goes, no, he can't join this gym. She goes, this is my space to get away from him. And, it's really true. What she's telling me is that this is my safe zone, away from my brother and away from my regular surrounding. And so the gym is a place where you now can talk openly about things you wouldn't talk openly about around your family, because this is an environment where you are free and you feel you can speak openly and nobody judge you. These are your teammates, these are your people. And whatever you say, it's sacred. It's not just like in Las Vegas, it stays there, it doesn't go anywhere else. And you also can seek advice there. There's so many, from David being in real estate, I have people who are lawyers, I have people who are doctors, I have people who are in the carpentry business. I have every form of people. I have young kids. My gym catered from the age of four up. And you'd be amazed the character a 4-year-old have. Sometimes they have more, they have more swag than an adult. They walk in, hi coach, and they're like, who said that? And I look around and it's a little, and their mannerism, I can tell they're going to be successful because they already have a swag. They're 4 years old, and so an adult who don't have a swag would look at that and go, whoa, so it's a great place to see not just myself, not just the athlete, but also to see to the difference and also our mannerism, how we walk, how we talk, and that goes large in everything we do.
I bring my son to the gym, and it's just incredible to see. Sometimes he's collaring, sometimes he's running on the treadmill, sometimes he's picking up the skipping rope and trying to skip, sometimes he's punching the bag, but he loves coming, and I think it's showing him that I'm there, I'm training, I'm putting the time, I'm consistent. And, this is what daddy does to get better, to improve myself, to work on, my mental fitness. And I'm happy that I'm able to share that with him.
Yeah. And now as I, the years I've been in the gym, now I see, my athletes are bringing their kids in. And it's really nice to see some of these athletes when they were young, that they were difficult to coach. But somewhere along the line, whatever they were being taught and whatever they earned in the gym, it's carried them a long way, and now their life is changing in a good way, and they contribute a lot of that to what happened in the gym. Because at that time in their life, when they weren't willing to learn and were resistant, they were not resistant because they were being resistant. They were resistant because it was natural for them at that stage, but they've grown and see the value that they got during the time that they were there. And I'm really happy and proud that I can influence and help them, because, I had a lot of help when I was younger, and I needed it because I had a lot of energy. And when you have energy, if you don't use it properly, it can go the very wrong way. You can make a left turn when you should make right. And I had lots of energy, and that is what the gym gives you. And when you see people with energy, you just need to challenge that and channel it in a good way, because energy can be gone. It can go left and right, and you have to be careful which way you go with it.
So Coach, you've seen, you've met so many people, you've had so many people through your gym. Let me ask you this question. What qualities do champions have? What makes them different? And really, what contributes to their success?
There is many elements. I think the first one is willing to do what's necessary to be a champion. So when I say to someone, you have to run, and they go to me, what I mean on the treadmill, I go, no. I mean, when you get up in the morning, you have to go running. They go, but it's cold outside or it's too hot. The champions don't have that mindset. Their mindset is whatever. I'll give you an analogy of what I say to a champion. If you're going to collect money, regardless if it's cold or hot, it doesn't matter. Whatever environment it is, winners will go there because that's where success is. And what most champions have is the will to do whatever is necessary. And it doesn't mean doing anything that is against the law, or what it means is just looking at the champion among them. Look at Nadal, look at Tiger Woods, look at Wayne Gretzky. And if you look at them, they will tell you hard work, dedication, listen to your coach, and just keep doing what you do, and you will find success. So the most characteristics, as I said, is back to their mindset, a positive mindset. If you get up in the morning, you're positive, you're more likely to have a positive result than negative. I'm happy that sometimes when kids walk in the gym, I become their light, where don't care what kind of day they're having. You know, when I was younger, I used to say to them, if a young kid walks in and he was looking down, I would say, can you go back out and come back in with a smile? And they would. And I said to them, you just came from school. Can you imagine sitting down for 8 hours? What a rough job you have. Because they look like they were done, like they were zonked. Like, I'm talking about 14 years old. You should be energized. Yeah, coach, it's been a rough day at school. I go, imagine sitting down for 8 hours. What a job you have. Anyway, go back out and come back in with a smile. And they would. And you'd be amazed the difference that make for me, because I see a kid coming like the whole world is on his shoulder. 14 years old, what kind of world can be on your shoulder? They have no responsibility. So the way you approach things, when you walk in the door, when you walk in to sell a house or whatever, if you walk in like you're dead, your client look at you like, what the? Now you walk in, you're energized. Your client says, oh, the agent is happy. Must be a nice house. If you walk, so your mannerism and your attitude, and that all comes from your mindset being positive.
How many champions have you coached throughout the years?
You know, Dave, I would say hundreds. I've never looked at it. What I do know is every Olympic I've been in, I've been a part of those champion part. And I'm proud that I can take boxers to Pan Am Games, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, Nationals, because a lot of them, they never come with that mindset. They came in just in the gym to work out. And I said to them, you have the potential to go places. And once that seed is planted in them, it's up to them. And the ones that I've told that, when I just started coaching, I used to make notes when I go to tournaments. And I'd make a note. I saw a kid, his first, second, or third fight, and I go, this one is going to be a national champion. And as my notes, I was always right. Whether they were national, Olympians, pro. And because you can see the potential right away. Even if it didn't matter if they win or lose, I could tell because of their attitude. But, you know, I really don't count how many champions I make. Every year, my job is just to keep improving myself and also to make sure that I'm making my gym a better place for my clients. So when you talk about my gym, your son comes and he's painting or he's coloring or I've realized that not everyone is going to come to the gym and work out. So if they just want to read a book, I have books. If they want to sit down and color, I have coloring stuff. If they want to jump rope, if they want to just sit down, whatever they want to do, as long as they're in the gym, it's a productive thing for them.
Well, you know, one thing I'm just want to comment on, you refer to champions, right? You go to an Olympic game and look, and you were there as an athlete, now as a coach. Only one person, you know, comes away with the gold medal, right? So people think, oh, that's the champion. But everybody that makes it to an Olympic Games or a Commonwealth Games or you know, any of those, you know, world-class games, like they're champions, right? They're champions at different levels. They've won, they put in all the work. when you look at all the, the people that would love to go to an Olympic Games and didn't, just getting there makes you a champion. You're committed. You've gone through it. You have to, and you can't get there on your own. You have to have good coaching. You have to have good mentorship. You have to put the time in. So every one of them is a champion. And I'm guessing that you felt the same way. Like, you didn't leave the Olympic Games in LA in '84 with a gold medal, but that doesn't mean you didn't achieve something.
Oh, no, it's a great achievement. One of my wish for any athlete in any sport would be to walk into Olympic Games. It's a surreal event. It's a surreal. My first Olympic game, I was, Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing walk in the first day I got there. And I was in awe. Michael Jordan have a certain aura about him. When he walks in the room, even if you're not looking at him, you can feel something, like something just happened. So when you walk in the Olympic Games, you will always meet someone like a Michael Jordan. When I went to Japan, I saw Yao Ming up in person. Oh my gosh, what a sight. I had no idea this man was so big. When you leave there, they don't feel any different from you. All of them make you feel like you're one of them. And so the most special thing about the Olympic game is being in that group, of a selected group that's chosen to be there and represent your country, having a country's flag on your back, is a huge accomplishment and more pressure than any other sport. So you can compete anywhere in the tournament, but the Olympic Games, you feel a sense that your whole country is on your back. And that's why when you talk about the one who actually win, everything has to fall in place. Not always the best athletes win the Olympic Games. The one that win the Olympic game is the one that's most prepared and most equipped for that specific day. So anyone, most of them, all of them, based on draw. In boxing, the draw is really important. If you have the right draw, they say in boxing, it's the one sport where the silver medal is not always the second best. They could be 10th, but based on their draw, they could win they could get a silver. And it's like everything else in life. They say timing and luck, you need a little bit of that. That goes a long way.
Yeah, I think this concept really resonated with me the more time I spent with you, Coach. I don't think people understand, or they look at the Olympics and the athletes that represent countries. I don't think people really quite grasp the fact that how much work these people put in, and these people are the best of the best. They've won tournaments. They're the cream of the crop. They represent their country. They have their country's flags on their back, and whether they win or lose, like you guys are absolutely right. These guys are the best of the best. And, to me, spending time with you, hearing stories about, what happens at Olympic Games and how athletes interact with each other, and who you're meeting, who you're rubbing elbows with, and what do you do with your time off? What do you do after your event is over? It just really puts everything to perspective. And I think we need to support our Olympic athletes and just recognize how hard these guys work to make it and to go to the Olympics every 4 years.
Well, sadly, our government uses us as political points when they need us. Like, people say, why don't athletes boycott a game? What people don't realize is majority of the time, an athlete success is based on their coaching and based on their own self, which means is having charity event to raise money, doing all these things. Most of the time it's done by them. It's only when they get to the spotlight, people actually see them, but people don't see back to behind the scene, what they do to get to where they are. And while we're proud to represent our country, most athletes will tell you, we wish we had more support, not from the public, but from the government, because the government is what controls our funding. And when we carry, everyone, Olympic game, everyone tunes in. But in order to get to Olympic game, we have to be prepared. And the preparation is where we need some funding. Not when we get to the game. When we get to the game, it's too late. We need sports psychology. We need mental training. We need physical training. We need to go off-site. We need to go to different countries. We need pre-competitions. And those are where the champion teams, the ones who have the money, that's where they do better than we do, because we don't have that. But we're all proud to wear our country's color. We're all proud to go to the Olympic and represent our country. And we also realize that the public don't truly understand the ins and outs of how to get to where we are. until they have someone involved or somebody, I remember going to my doctor and he said to me, the new doctor I have, and he said, I've never met an Olympian. He said, you're my first Olympian. And I said, well, I'm not very much different from others. I'm just an Olympian. He said, no, I've never met an Olympian, right? So I said, well, now you have. And, and he does treat me different because I'm an Olympian. He calls me up and it's like my best friend. I mean, doc, I just met you, but he wants to know how I'm doing, how is things. But, it's a very few that become Olympian. And all you have to do is look around your office, look around your surrounding, and ask yourself, how many of you are Olympians? There's very few of us. But we're no different from anyone else. We are here to spread what we have, and we hope everyone can be an Olympian. And I think everyone have the potential. But you need the forum, you need that tool, you need that guidance, and you have to also, the first step is setting goals in everything we do. And goal is like a roadmap. It's like you're going to New York, find out how to get to New York. And once you start to look at that, you will find the route.
Coach, you're really big on setting goals and personal achievements. Part of that, it's so important to maintain like a really high personal level of activity and take care of yourself. Why is that so important? And especially why is that so important in business and in sales?
Well, when you set a meeting, you want to show up for that meeting. And if you're healthy, you're more likely to show up in a better frame of mind. If you're unhealthy, you might not want to show up, or if you do show up, your energy will not be the same. Fitness is like fuel for your brain. When you see someone walk in nice and neat, it doesn't matter, male or female. I sometimes see guys walk in my gym and I want to say, wow, you look really nice. Apparently, we're not supposed to say that to people anymore, but that's my first instinct.
It's true. You can't say that anymore. It's a tough world we're in right now. You can't compliment people now.
In some countries you can. In Jamaica, they do a lot. The girls get complimented very well, and so does the guys. In North America, we're not allowed to. But the point I'm making is, when we see something that is what you call easy on the eyes, and normally that is somebody with good posture, and fitness allow you to keep your posture in a better frame than if you're not fit. It doesn't make you lag like you want to be upright. It also give you energy when you work out. A lot of people who don't work out believe if they work out, they'll get tired. A matter of fact, it's the opposite. If you don't work out, you're going to get tired. So when you, if I think about philanthropy, if I think about charity, in order to give, you have to have. So if you're going to tell people about success, you have to be the epitome of success yourself. Like, as you said, I have credential. Well, I have credential because I've earned them. And I'm telling everyone else they can. For me to tell someone to take care of themselves, and I'm not taking care of myself, would be hypocritical of me. And also, it would be hard for them to listen to me. So when you take care of yourself, so as a father or mother, your child have a living example of a role model that is doing what they taught. I hear sometimes parents are smoking cigarettes and ask, I can't believe my son is smoking cigarettes. How I can't, I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe that either. Well, your son or daughter look at you as a role model. Your friends see you as a role model. When you tell your friends you got to get in shape and you're in shape, they look at you and say, yeah, I should do it. Yes, I should. So fitness it's not just, it's energy, but it also enables you to be optimistic, to be positive, and it builds self-esteem, it builds self-discipline. Everything that is positive, fitness brings that. And so when I tell people they got to be fit, you don't have to go run a marathon. Go for a walk. When you eat your dinner, go for a walk. It's beautiful outside. We live in a country that have beautiful parks, beautiful. I remember a few years ago, I went to the film festival and I went outside to go to a diner to eat. And I said to myself, we're living in one of the best cities in the world, safe, no danger, and I'm surrounded by thousands of people. Toronto, we're living in a beautiful place, but go out and see it. Don't just sit around. The more you move, the more you appreciate what's around you. You see the goodness. Sitting around only make you depressed. And so fitness, I'm big on it because it's my life. And everything that I've done is proven to me that it's valuable. And it also is admirable. You know, when I see a young lady or a young man running, wow, they have energy, use it. And if you don't use it, you lose it, as they say. So, you know, everyone should strive to be healthy, because if you are healthy, you can help others. So if somebody's gonna run over by a car and you can run and grab them, it's better than if you can't. So when you're healthy, you have more beyond all the mental aspect, the physical aspect is also there too. And you know, who don't want to be healthy? Why would you not want to be?
Coach, what do you think prevents, like, we all know we should be doing this, right? Like I truly believe that, you know, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, exercise is bad for you, eating healthy is bad for you. You know, we all know that we have to do these things to be successful, right? What do you think prevents the average business person or the average realtor out there from, you know, going out there and living this type of lifestyle?
I think I got confused with when people say to them, you're doing okay and you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. We need to tell people they can do better. We need to tell people that they should strive to do better. We got to stop telling people it's okay that you get a D. It's not okay. You can get a C, you can get a B, you can get an A. It's not okay. And we continue as a society to tell people to be mediocre. It's okay. You know, and we do all these analogies. Oh, look at the rich guy, you know, he commits suicide. Or the rich. No. We need to tell people that they can do better. And we need to tell them that they should stop accepting mediocre. You should be exceptional in whatever you do, because we all have it in us. What happened, though, is a lot of people are lazy. And lazy create failure. And the minute they start moving, that laziness changed to activity. And the minute you start moving, everything changes. But everyone have it in them. And they say, some people come to me, coach, I need motivation. What they mean is they need a push. They need somebody to tell them, go do this. And so people sometimes ask me, what do I need to eat? I don't want to tell them all those things, because they know what they shouldn't be eating. They know. And I'm not going to tell them what to eat, because I don't know what they eat. And sometimes I ask them what they eat, and they don't tell me because they know it's bad. So they tell me the good stuff. They go, no, that's not what you're eating. That's what you're telling me. Yeah, you have that. But I want the other stuff. So I think what prevents us is we have a society where people, sometimes successful people do it. They create, they said, I'm here and I want everybody to be down here. That's a very shallow mindset. Most successful people want people to grow with them so they can be supportive. So I want to go with a group of people that are either here with me or above me. And that is because if I ever need support, they're there. And also for me to aspire to be something better at all times. I don't want people I don't want to be the best. You know, in real estate, they say you don't want to have the most expensive house on the street. You want to be beside it, because your value grows up with that. And that actually is the way life is. Your value goes up with the group that you surround yourself with. So I think what you're asking about is why people do this. We all know we need to change. We just need to be told. And a lot of people now are afraid, like, you know, I hear something that I don't fully understand it called woke. I don't know what that means, because the truth is the truth. If you need improvement, what do we call in sports, you know, positive reinforcement or positive, you know, objectives. So when you play, we say, you know, you should have done this better. We never said you did it bad. We said you can improve on it. And if you do, you will play better. We don't see that as saying, oh, you suck. No, we said, no, This part of your game you need to work on. And if you work on it, you will be better next time. So a lot of people are afraid to tell people what they need to tell them. They need to tell them, get out of your slump and start doing better. And we need to have, I remember I used to work in a company where we had motivational speaker comes in once a month. We need a motivational person to come and say to us, you guys are the best at what you do, continue doing it, but you always have more work to do. And we need that a reminder. That's why successful people go to seminars. And most of the time, the people that go to seminars are more successful than the person teaching the seminar. But they go to seminar to remind themselves why they're successful and to remind themselves to keep doing what they do. Because sometimes they stop. Okay, they've reached a certain bar and they go, well, I can relax now. And they go back and they go, whoa, I stopped doing what I used to do. How did I get here? What got me here? I need to continue doing it. So I myself, every once in a while, I have to look in the mirror and ask myself, are you doing the best for your clients? And I have to say to myself, sometimes I'm not. And I know when I'm not. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, we can do better. And I think that's where we need to all look at ourselves, not just, and we have to bring those people up with us who needs a little hand, because a lot of people need a hand. And some of them, back to what I said earlier, I think the childhood, what they were taught when they were young, are huge barriers. They were taught when they were young, you're never going to be successful. You're never going to be like this guy, that guy. And sometimes people do it in families where they tell their kids, why don't you be like Tom? Why don't you be like Jack? Why don't you be like Judy? And you're saying, I'm not Judy or Tom and Jack. I'm me. But why don't you tell me to be better me instead of telling me, I don't want to be like them. Like I don't want to do their path. So we sometimes talk and we do things to hinder people without even realizing.
Yeah, you can point to other successful people to show that it's possible. Because everybody that is successful has a story. Yes. And the common denominator in all those stories, regardless of professions, they worked hard.
Yes.
And they outworked other people. Back to something you said earlier, Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky and Nadal and Federer, one thing they all have in common, they practice harder than everybody. They train harder than everybody. Nobody ever took more foul shots in practice than Michael Jordan. And if he saw somebody else in his team, if he was going to do 100 and somebody else did 110, he'll do 120. Because that's the mentality. Gretzky trained hard. He practiced hard. That's something they all have in common. No different in the real estate business. I've been fortunate enough to be around, Sutton Summit for, a lot of years now and attend many functions with the agents. And you have, how many agents you have now, David?
230. Okay.
So, when I go there, I don't get to talk to every single one of them. But I do have conversations. People come up to me all the time and they're saying, what can I do to be better? Young agents and stuff. And I see sometimes who they're hanging out with. You're hanging out with some of these part-time agents who aren't really motivated and they're making some money, but they're not really succeeding. Go over there and hang out with that guy and that lady over there. Like those are the top producers. Go speak to them and see what they're doing. Because those are the people you got to get to know and be a sponge, like learn from what they're doing. And the common denominator with all of them, best agents, David, right? They work hard. They set goals, and they achieve them, and they set the next goal, and they work hard.
Yeah, and it's their personal growth, as I said, and people. We have to, and sometimes people like to surround themselves with people that they feel more comfortable with, but your comfort zone is not going to make you successful, because when you go into a ring, you speak about me being in the ring by myself. There's a lot of strangers around. There's spectators, and all I have to do is remember it's only me and my opponent. The spectators can't help me or my opponent. And so now it comes down to me. Do I believe in myself? Am I fully prepared? Am I ready for the task? And all of us have this ability. We now have something called Google. I tell the kids all the time, I go, Google, you ask Google how to be successful, it will give you many, many positive reasons. And if you ask Google how to be a failure, it will tell you too. Because Google have all the answers. And actually, it has pretty much all of them. Because everyone has gone to it and asked Google, and Google has said, okay, yes. So people now, back to what I said, we growing up, I read so many books, I I remember reading an analogy that says, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And they're both correct, because your mind tell you, whatever you tell your mind, that's what you're going to do. If you say you can't do something, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And if you say you can, you will. So all of these things are out there and we all hear them. Our parents sometimes tell them to us, strangers say them to us. We just have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what do we want? And we should want the best for ourselves, because I always, when people look at me and talk to me sometime as a young person, I used to think to myself, who are they talking to? Like, people would say to me, you can't do something. And I look at them, I didn't say it, but I'm asking, I wonder if they're talking to me, like, because I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, I never asked them to set my goals. You're going to tell me what I can do, and even now having kids, I had a hard time in school, because I go to school sometimes and teachers would say something to me and I go, my son is only 8 years old, right? 8 years old, he hasn't started living yet, right? If he can't do something at 8 years old, that's okay. But I hope he can do that 9 or 10. But eight is okay. He doesn't have to do it. So I think even from those stages, parents have to realize that teachers, everyone have a big influence on their kids' outlook, and make sure they're getting positive information, because there's too much negativity in the world. Like, people say to me all the time, what do you mean by that, Dewith? I go, I don't need to see garbage. I know garbage exists, but the less I see, the better it is for me. Like, sometimes people are telling me they saw on TV and I go, I never saw it. And they go, why? I'm not interested. Like, I know there's accidents every day. I know there's people dying every day. I know all those things. I don't need to see all of it, because I can't do nothing about it. It's already done. Tell me about what I can do to improve so that doesn't happen. Tell me what I can do to move on. But don't keep bringing up all these things that are already done. And people say, it's done. I can't do nothing about it. How do I move on?
Yeah, we had our awards ceremony at Sutton Summit Realty a couple of weeks ago, and we gave out a record number of awards this year. We gave out 126 awards, for sales achievement. And it was absolutely incredible. It was a great night, and it was a great time celebrating everybody's successes. And I gave a speech, and the whole aspect of my speech was that, the market is changing and we are experiencing a shift, and agents have two choices. And I said to them, whether you make the first choice or the second choice, you will be correct. You would be absolutely right.
Yep.
And the choices are, what do you do? Do you get caught up in the negativity and choose to sit out and, not communicate with your clients and sit at home and think about the gloom and doom that's happening in the real estate market? Or do you seek out opportunities, communicate with your clients, embrace the fact that the market is changing, that there's going to be opportunities out there for the people that do jump in and do look for those opportunities, and go out there and crush your goals, right? And both those choices, whichever one you make, you would be 100% correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, back to, we all know these things, but people are always looking for reasons to justify failure. So, most of the time I hear this thing about, I was influenced by my friends. I was told to buy this. People ask me, when you were younger, do it? I go, nope, I was never, ever, ever influenced by my friends. I go, my friends were always my friends, but they do what they do and I do what I do. And I go, I did do some things what they did that wasn't right, but that was my choice, not because they made me. They could say, do it, you want to do this? It was always my choice to say yes or no. And anytime I want to say no, it was no. And no, none of them could change that. And at a young age, they all knew, if Dewith says no, it's no. Yes, it's yes. Because, and I tell young people right now, they have a choice to say yes and no. And they actually know the difference. They know the difference between wrong and right. And they are sometimes afraid to say no, but they need to say no, because no gives them respect. Their friends go, I wish I had the courage to be like him, to say, I'm not going to be a part of this garbage. But some of them just don't have the courage to say no. And we need to embrace and also encourage them to make their own decision and be themselves.
100%.
You have to take responsibility for your own actions and that way you get your own credit for your successes. And if there is a failure or something doesn't go well, you're not looking to blame everybody else. It's what can I have done differently, or what should I have done, and how am I going to fix it going forward? And there's too many people out there, whether they're real estate agents or they're lawyers or they're other people in other businesses, that just want to play the blame game when something goes wrong. Oh, it could never be my fault. It's got to be somebody else's fault in the process. But like you say, Coach, you look in the mirror first, right? And see, and then decide, what can I do to change it, as opposed to say, I can't do any sales this month because the market's bad. Yeah, it's a tough market right now, but there's a lot of people doing quite well in the tough market. So do you want to be one of them? Or are you going to sit it out and just say, oh, I'm only going to be successful when the market gets really good?
No, the market, in every business, there's always what they call a slow time and a fast time. Now, when I started my business, anytime it was slow, I just hit the road. I just go do flyers. I go do something. It's summertime, people say to me, the gym is dead. Not for me, because I do different things. School is out. I can do program for kids. There's always opportunities. The problem is people are so comfortable in using things that they feel comfortable in blaming. So, like even politics, people say, well, this politician, that. But if you really get down to it, you have to ask yourself, is it the politicians or is it you? There are successful people don't care who is in politics. So you have to choose, is it politicians or is it the decision I'm making? At the end of the day, the biggest thing you can do as a human being is be responsible for your own action, and also take the action to be successful. And that's on you. And you choose the surrounding, you choose everything you want to be successful is there for you. You just have to look for it. And it comes down back to you. If you want to be successful, you will be.
Coach, I want to put everything into perspective. So we spoke about going from 0 to 100. We spoke about, taking small steps. We talked about, just now, the power of saying no. Sometimes I look at life, you start your day, and the minute you get out of bed, you have a choice to make, right? And you have the ability to say yes, no, and make decisions. And it starts with the small choices. Do you eat breakfast? Do you don't eat breakfast? What are you going to eat for breakfast? What are you not going to eat for breakfast? What are you going to wear? Are you going to iron your shirt? Are you not going to iron your shirt, right? And as you go through the day, it's tough to make some of these choices, but if you stay disciplined and you make small decisions, throughout the day, they're going to add up to a big outcome. I called my girlfriend this morning, and she's out of town with another girlfriend, and she's telling me that her girlfriend's eating chips for breakfast, right? But that's a personal decision that she made in the moment, that's going to have an impact. And as she keeps making these decisions throughout the day and throughout the weeks and throughout the months, it's going to have an effect on her well-being, right? So it's the small choices you make, the ability to say no, staying consistent, staying disciplined is going to add up to a really big outcome at the end of the day.
Well, it does. Back to being from 0 to 100, when you start, you have to be realistic, and you grow. As you keep growing, you keep adding tools. It's like, in your real estate company, when you started, you never had as much tool as you have now. But you can't just go the first day on the job, get all the tools. First of all, you can't afford it, and you have no access to it. So the tools start to come more and more in place over time. Now, these girlfriends, they know what they're doing. They justify eating chips by saying, I'm on vacation, or I haven't eaten chips in months, or whatever, which they don't really need. At the end of the day, all our decisions are made. They come into a package and become who we are. If you make consistently good decision, you do get consistently good result. If you make consistently bad decision, you may get consistently bad outcomes. So that's just what it is. And as I said, back to people know what they're doing. Why they do it is mind-boggling to me at times.
Yeah, absolutely. But, we all have the power, and it starts with us, and, it's not easy, but, start with the small decisions. I look around, and, sometimes I see somebody carrying a donut, and they ask me, hey, David, do you want a donut? I want to say yes. I want the donut, right? But
I always want a donut, but it doesn't
Is
mean
it a
you
good
take it.
donut? Is it a nice donut or a bad donut?
it looks so delicious. And, the problem is we keep making these things better and better. And,
are
they
they
look
tricking
more
you?
delicious every single time you go to store. But, I say no, right? And they stand behind my decision. I say, no, thank you, no. And, it's not easy to make that choice, but you make it, and you make it over and over and over. And, I feel great. I feel like, I'm probably in like one of the best shapes in my life. I know what I have to do to get even into better shape, but it's a powerful feeling, and it's not easy. It's not easy to say no to that donut, but, I do as often as I can. And start with the little things if you want to change your life.
Yes.
Yeah. Coach, thank you so much for being on with us today. Like it's an absolute honor to have you and to be able to rely on your guidance and have these conversations on a regular basis. And, I encourage all our listeners to get into the gym, to make great decisions for themselves and for their well-being, find a mentor, and really take care of themselves. So, Coach, I want to personally thank you for all the time and effort that you've devoted to me and to training with me. It's been an absolute honor, and I always look forward to coming in and to our sessions together.
Well, I want to thank you, for bringing me on today, and I also hope that it touches one or two people. That's all that matters. Everyone it touches 10 people. So if you improve yourself, your surroundings improve themselves also. And it's good to have a common discussion about good things instead of negative things, because there's so many negative things we'd be talking about. We're talking about all kind of stuff. So I think we need to spend more time on appreciating the world we live in, and also how fortunate we are to be in this situation we are, but also to invite people that they can have the same opportunities and better. It's all up to them. I want to thank you guys.
Okay, it's a great message, Coach, and a pleasure to meet you. And we didn't mention, we probably should, to where your gym is, and I assume you have capacity to take on more people, and they're welcome to get involved as well. So maybe just tell us where that is.
All you have to do is go online and do Dewith Boxing. That's DEWITH boxing.com, and that will tell you all about us. We are very fortunate right now that we're almost at full capacity, but people are always welcome to come in and really be getting some information, or if we can help them. I'm not about getting membership. I'm about improving people's lives. And I tell my clients all the time, if I can't help you, there's always other gyms that can, because gyms have their own niche, and sometimes some people don't fit into mine because my positive environment sometimes is not for everyone. They're not ready for it yet. So they need to be in a different space. But, I want to thank you guys again. And, it's nice meeting you. And I hope there's some positive thing come out of this.
There will be, for sure. From the mouth of a champion. Hope everybody gets a great message from this today. I think they really will. Thank you very much for being the person and the mentor that you are to so many. Great message.
All right. Thank you, guys.